Hey, smart authors. Welcome to another episode of the Smart Author Podcast. My name is Chris Benetti and I'm your host. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about marketing budgets. This is actually a common question I get. What should my marketing budget be, right? Well, it's actually a pretty simple question, but also very complex at the same time. So today I wanted to jam on what some potential possibilities could be, how we can go ahead and work out what an effective marketing budget should be, and the best steps that you can take to determine this and move forward effectively. All right, so the question of what my marketing budget should be. This is actually a very complicated question because there's no real answer to it. I'd love to be able to say and tell you exactly what your marketing budget should be, but it's just not possible. And so we have to go through a process of determining what it actually costs for you to sell a book, okay? And so if you're marketing on Facebook, you're going to have a cost per book sale. If you're marketing on Amazon, you're going to have a cost per book sale over there as well. Two different platforms. If you're marketing elsewhere, you're generally going to have different costs as well. And it's very important for us to understand what our base costs are, because only until we understand what our base costs are, then we'll be able to go ahead and progress effectively, knowing exactly what our marketing budgets should be within the ballpark of 5 to 10% kind of thing. So I wanted to run through some scenarios with you and just map out some of the most effective ways for you to run a test campaign and to actually determine what our marketing budgets should be. All right, so the first thing we need to do is run a test campaign. And what I would suggest is that you allocate $1,000 in testing funds. This is really for us to, in the beginning, get an understanding of what it costs initially, like I said, to make a book sale. We are going to see an average over a certain amount of volume. What I would suggest is $1,000 over 30 days. Some days are going to be more expensive. Some days are going to be cheaper. But $1,000 over 30 days will give us a good initial test. We're going to spend roughly $33 per day. With this $33, we are going to be able to determine how much of this or how many books can we buy with $33. If we are on Amazon, I would say that a good goal for $33 would be to have around 3 book sales, maybe 4, which would give us a base idea of having roughly a $10 book sale. Once we determine that, we can basically work to optimize these things. This is a starting amount. Through further optimization of our campaigns, we're going to be able to lower the cost of our book sale. Through Facebook, I would probably suggest that you aim for a similar number, because in most circumstances, $10 will give you enough money to break even, depending on your book costs. Now, breaking even isn't the main goal here. We need to spend money or allocate marketing funds to sell books, because a book is not a moneymaker, unfortunately. A book is a way for you to market yourself, build authority for yourself, build your brand, give value to the world, and effectively, drive leads into your business. And so unfortunately, there's going to be some marketing costs and some things that you have to write off. But let's just run an example of, if your book costs you, let's just say it costs you $8 to sell one book. Like, this is the production and shipping costs. If I am selling a book for $8, or that's what it's costing me to produce a book, then I'm spending an additional $10 on the book. From a marketing sale perspective, this gives me $18. If your book is priced at $25, then good on you, you just made $7. I want you to start thinking about selling books as an investment for you and your business. Forget this. Let's start saying, okay, I'm happy. Even if this number up here goes from $10 to $17, which in this example would be a break-even sale, to even $27 to sell a book. If I sold one book for $27, I know, because I've written my book effectively, that that's going to be an absolute banger for me, because again, I'm going to build my brand, I'm going to build my authority, I'm going to deliver a ton of value, and I'm also going to be able to turn a buyer or reader into a lead for my core business. And this is a very good way to start thinking about selling books. You should be allocating funds up and beyond what you've spent already to produce the book, to market the book. It makes sense. You guys run brand building campaigns on social media to build your brand, build your authority. This book and selling this book is the exact same kind of campaign. It's just done in a different format where people can tangibly hold your book and know that they're going to get value from it. It's basically a way for you to get that out there with the best authority possible, with the best intention possible, and with the clearest path to becoming a client of yours. And that's what I want you to start thinking about. So to recap, what we want to be doing is running a test campaign. The test campaign is $1,000, and let's just suggest that this is over a 30-day period. $1,000, $33 per day for 30 days. This will give us a very clear idea of what it costs to sell one book. And again, it's very important for you to know your margins, but I would also suggest that you look at this as an investment. So if my margins, again, it cost me $8 to print a book, and then I find over the campaign of $33 for 30 days, I can sell roughly 3 books on average with that budget. So I'm selling 3 books a day, which would give me a cost of $11. This would be how much it truly costs me to sell one book, $19. And if my book is priced at $25 or something like that, then great, I've just made $6 profit on the book sale. Don't worry about profit. If you can break even, that's an ideal scenario. Profit is obviously a very good scenario, but it's not always going to happen. And so I want you to start thinking about, okay, I can spend up to $10 to actually make a book sale beyond what it costs me. And you're going to be absolutely set. Once you know all of these things, then you can really just start playing a numbers game. Okay, so it costs me, let's just say on average, $20 to sell a book. How many books do you want to sell in a month? I want to sell 100 books a month. Easy math, right? 20 times 100 is 2,000. It's going to be a $2,000 a month campaign to sell 100 books on average. We don't know what this cost is until we start running test campaigns. Once you run your test campaign, you're going to get an average. That average is going to determine what your marketing budget is, depending on how many books you want to sell per month. So it's pretty much as simple as that. The only way for us to determine this is with a test campaign. And after you have that, you'll have some average data over the month. Some days, $33 might only get you 1 book sale. Some days, $33 might get you 10 book sales. It's very hard to determine exactly how many book sales you get, but what I suggest is that you look at the amount of book sales per month. Let's just say over the $1,000 test campaign, I sold 50 books. This would be in alignment with me spending the $20 per book sale. 20 times 50 equals 1,000. And the way for us to work this out is, simply 1,000 divided by 50 equals 20. I sold 50 books in my test campaign. It doesn't matter what you spend on a daily basis or how many books you sell, because it's going to be inconsistent. We want to work out what the average is across the month, because that's going to reflect what it's actually going to be when you're running live campaigns. But now that I know this, again, you can just come down and go, okay, I want to sell 100 books this month, or I want to sell 200 books this month. You know straight away, I need to allocate $2,000, $4,000. You can determine this now that you know what this number is, cost per book on average over the month of the test campaign. So hopefully that helps to clarify things. Now, we get to have some fun when we start to implement funnels, because funnels is where we can actually start making some direct money. With a Amazon direct to Amazon campaign, we're most of the time looking at a one-time sale. So you might only get one book sale on Amazon. The book sale is $25. You spent $20 on selling the book, you make $5. That's the spread. With a book funnel, you aren't usually charging for the book up front. You're doing a free plus shipping model. And so you are most of the time going to lose money on the direct book sale because, again, your cost of production of the book is $8. That's shipped. In a funnel, we might be charging $8.95, right? So even if an organic visitor came and purchased, you're only making 95 cents. And it's going to be basically impossible for you to send a buyer from Facebook and have them convert for 95 cents. Now we get the opportunity to add in order bumps, which are typically priced at $27 to $47. And we can see conversion rates of 20 to 50%. And so now your 95 cents can potentially turn into $27 to $47. Let's just give it a round number here of $50. If we send 100 visitors to our funnel and we have a conversion rate of, let's say, 10%, which is pretty standard on a campaign like this, we are going to have 10 book buyers. Let's be aggressive and say that we have a 50% conversion rate, which isn't very likely, but let's just say we're going to have an additional 5 people buy our order bump, which could result in $250 in additional revenue. And remember, if we previously determined that it cost us around $20 per sale, we are basically now looking at allocating $200 to get the 10 sales that we had previously determined to then make $250. Hopefully that makes sense. We obviously have, 95 cents on each one of these as well, which would be added on. So you could probably add an additional $10 here. So $200 to make $260 in sales. Pretty good deal. You're making $60 every single time, or you spend 200, you're making 60. The other cool thing we can implement is what's called an upsell. And an upsell is where we sell something from 97 to 297 on the next step of the funnel. And typically we'll see a 5 to 20% conversion on these pages. So if we look at our example of we sent 100 people to our book sales page and order page, we had a 10% conversion. We see 10% or 10 people convert and buy books. They're going to come to this page, and then we're going to see a 5 to 20% conversion. 20% of 10 is 2, right? 5% of 10 is 1/2. So we might see, 1 to 2 buyers. And if we had this priced at, let's say, $200, then we're going to have an additional $200 to $400 in revenue. Our $60 just went from 60 to potentially 460. And so now we've just made $460 from spending 200. In total, there's $660 in sales and 460 is profit. This can give us a really good idea of what's possible when we start to implement sales funnels on the back of our books. We can now give our book away for free, which is free value, and still make some money on the back end of that. Again, I don't want you to focus on this because it's more important for you to get the books in the hands of your customers. But if you're smart about it, you can make some pretty good money on the back end of selling your book if everything aligns for you. Now, the funnels can actually offer some complications. Conversion rate complications. You're now adding in 2 different sales pages to convert a customer. And so you have complications on the book sales page actually converting. And then you have complications on the upsell page converting. But if you dialed things in and you got things converting within the parameters that I just explained, then you're most likely going to have some really, really good success with running book funnels. If you wanted to, you could run a test for your book funnel as well. You could do the same $1,000 campaign. If we did a $1,000 campaign to a book funnel, let's just give ourselves a conservative per sale number. Let's just pretend it costs us $20 to get a book sale. So this gives us 50 customers with our $1,000 budget, testing budget. 50 customers when we consider the book sale. We're not going to be making any money on the front end. We are going to be spending $28 to get a customer. But then we have our conversion rate breakdown. 50 customers, this gives us aggressively 25 new order bump purchases. And let's just say 10 to 25. Then on the next step, remember 5 to 20% of people will purchase the upsell. Let's just put this at 5%. If we have 5%, we're going to see 2.5, 3 people on the low end. And then 20%, we will see 10 people. In this example, we have, let's just say, a $30 order bump. And in this example, we have, let's just say, a $200 upsell. So for the order bump, we are going to see potentially $300 to $750 in additional revenue. And for the upsell, we are going to see $600 to $2,000 in additional revenue. So let's do a final math on this. $20 to actually get a sale. It cost us $28 to fulfill. So let's just say that it's cost us $28 to get one of these 50 purchases. From $1,000, we could potentially make from $900 to $2,750. In that example, it's possible for us to make some money on the book funnel. We're basically acquiring a new customer for profit, and then we're able to control the ascension journey, the customer journey for them. We can follow up, we can build more authority, we can deliver a crap ton of value, and we can bring them into our world in the way that we want to control. From there, we can ascend them to becoming a customer of our core service. Now, through all of this, you're basically going to start building what's called an average cart value. An average cart value is a very, very useful number because it's going to help us take the numbers that I just explained to you and break it down to an average level. The average cart value is actually determined by the amount of money we made in the cart. So let's just say over that campaign, we made $2,000. Remember, we spent $1,000 on ads. We made $2,000 and we had 50 customers. Our average cart value is basically these two numbers divided. Okay, so 2,000 divided by 50. Our average cart value is now going to be $40. So we know that on average, we can spend $40 to acquire a customer. And this is very powerful because that's double what we had already determined it cost us to make one book sale. This is really powerful because this can help you further ascend anything your competition is doing. Absolutely blow your competition out of the water because you know that you can spend on average $40 per customer. I want you to remember that this again is not designed for you to make profit on the front end. This is designed for you to give value, build authority, brand, and then ascend those customers, those front-end customers, into back-end core business. And that's what's important. But if worst comes to worst, you can spend $40 to sell one book. And that's the power of knowing your numbers, doing these test campaigns, and building in successful and competent funnels. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little bit more technical. Hopefully all the drawing helped. But at the end of the day, you're gonna be successful because you now know this. You know that a test campaign is important for you to determine what your cost of book sales are. You know that in order for you to run a successful funnel, you need to do a test campaign to be able to know your numbers. And then once you know your numbers, you know your average cart value, then you can really spend up to your average cart value to acquire a new book buyer. It's going to help you break even on the front end, bring in customers for free essentially over time, and really just build your business like crazy. So if you actually want a hand with any of this book marketing stuff, building your funnels, optimizing campaigns, getting feedback on the marketing assets that you're running currently or you've developed, then definitely check out my free book sales audit at smartauthormedia.com/audit. You'll be able to jump on a free, no obligation call with me where we can just review everything you've got going on and I can provide helpful feedback, a clear path for what you can do to help optimize the marketing assets that you have in place, or even just get you on the path to getting started with marketing your book. Again, you can find that at smartauthormedia.com/audit. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, sharing with your friends, sharing with people who ask you what marketing budgets they should set, and hopefully I'll see you for the next episode as well. Thanks again for listening. It's been awesome.